Welcome to another episode of the Carry Trainer Higher Line podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Carry Trainer's Higher Line podcast. I've got a friend of ours on here today, Wes Whitlock of, you got a lot of brands, Rogue American Apparel, you got Invader Coffee. How many brands do you have now?
Well, officially 3 right now. Officially 3. So it's kind of all under the same house, but a lot of madness as we
Disciples of Iron.
Yep, Disciples is kind of an underground type of business we run. It's more of an underground type thing, but it's a lot of guys relate to it, and so I keep it out there, and we just do some really kind of cool underground stuff with Disciples. But the two, Rogue and Invader, man, are big daddies, I guess if you like to call them that, that we kind of put a lot of our focus and energy into as far as business. So yeah, it keeps us busy, but glad to be on here, dude. Good to see you. I saw you at SHOT Show.
Yeah.
Badass seeing what you're doing too, man. So it's good to finally get on here and chew some meat together and spew out some hate. Just kidding.
I've never heard you dish out any hate. You know, my favorite T-shirt is my Invader Coffee T-shirt. I wore a couple of those out. I need to order another one.
I see you in it all the time.
That's like my
faded. You know what? Pat told me it's the same thing. It's his favorite shirt, and his is all faded with holes in it and stuff. So yeah. I will get you a new one because it's like rocking it, and I love it.
It's just the brand and everything on there is cool too. Like I was with some guys yesterday that every one of the guys I was with, one of them owns a tattoo company, one owns a restaurant and a martial arts dojo, and they've all got their own branded stuff. And they say, hey, they never see me in my own clothes. You know, we've got our branded clothes. And I say, yeah, I wear all my friends' stuff. Like, I feel like I don't need to wear my stuff when other people buy it, but I like, I'll wear yours or other people's. But some guys will give me stuff. Like today, I'm wearing a shirt from an insurance company we do work with. And guys will give me stuff, and it's like, I don't want to wear that shirt. It's a piece of shit, and it's ugly, you know?
Hey, yeah, if it's ugly, it's ugly. You're not going to wear it. But I'm the same way, dude. I got so many damn T-shirts. Dudes will send me shirts. I'm like, dude, I don't need any more freaking shirts. But I keep them because, I'm the same way. I'll wear stuff. I'll wear my friend's stuff, I'll wear my other brands, guys that I like, guys that are coming up, just cool shit. Usually more than my own stuff. So, and I think that's what real friends do for each other, especially in business, is you don't ask them for discounts. You don't ask them for favors. You support them. You buy their gear, you support them, you push their products, and you help each other out. And that's the kind of stuff we like. And that's, when you're doing stuff like that, you're supporting that, dude. So yeah, it's cool.
You and I have talked about that before, about all that. Like I've been to your store down in Austin a handful of times, and it seems like every time I'm there, somebody wanders in and is like trying to score some free shit. Like,
it's actually not that bad. Every once in a while, we'll get somebody that's a little cheap, I guess you can say. But for the most part, man, what I find surprising is I'll see dudes on the other spectrum to where they're cops or, guys that don't make a lot of money, and they come in and get a bunch of shit. And I'm like, of course, we give discounts anyway to military and law enforcement guys. Yeah. Most of them don't ask; they just want it. And I tell them, dude, make sure you save enough money to pay for diapers and pay your damn mortgage first, and then come buy our shit, because they drop money, And it's to me, it's kind of cool because I see these guys that work hard, and that's also important for me in our product and our branding. You're spending your heart, you busted your ass for that money. I want to give you the value you perceive from this product. I want you to walk out of here and be like, man, I feel better. I look better. I know that some of that money also has gone to another cause. So yeah, I want people to have that experience and know that their money is being well spent, So, because I'm the same way. If I'm going to spend my money, I'm cheap, dude. I want to buy something.
I know I've drank with you before. I noticed that.
I remember.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I appreciate people that work hard and they spend their money with us, and that's why I say, even with our products, I'm going to give you the best product out there. That's bottom line. I'm not going to give you bullshit and put a name on it. We're going to test it for a year. We're going to put it through the ringer. We're going to beat it up. We're going to go through other testing stations with it, third party, and then I'll get it out to you guys. So
yeah,
it's already gone through this process of quality before I put some bullshit out there. So that's important to us as a brand. And that's why people have come back a lot. You know,
let's roll it back a bit here. You're about my age. You were.
I'm 44, so I don't know how old you are, but I'm just a lot better looking. So
that is true. I got all this beautiful gray. We're about the same age. You're a couple years, just a couple years older than me. But you were a Marine, right? And then you did a bunch of private contracting security work.
Yeah, I was a Marine for 6 years. Most of my time as a Marine, I did embassy security. So it was a MSG, Marine Security Guard, where we secure embassy, diplomats, classified information, stuff like that. And I loved it. It was badass. And I got to go to a lot of cool places and learn a lot of cool stuff. Was able to obtain my top secret clearance. So when I got out, this was 99. Yeah, I got out in 99. But at the time I wanted to go to school. So I went to college. I went to Italy and studied over there. After that, I got my degree and I was looking at the Secret Service, the CIA, all the agencies. I applied with the agency. You know, that didn't pan out for whatever reason because they're weird. But, and that was about the time the war was kicking off, 2003, 2004. Found out about the DSS high threat protection work. So I applied for that. Went to the school, you know, graduated that, and then ended up in Afghanistan. So that just kind of happened, you know, and ended up being a really good experience for me. You know, I'm still working with dudes that I looked up to, you know, in that community at the time, 2004, and this was with DynCorp at the time. We had the contract for the U.S. ambassador, all diplomats there, and we had the Karzai detail, the president of Afghanistan. So you're working around like top tier dudes with 20 years experience, you know, SEALs, Rangers, Recon, Delta, everything. And so you're turning this mixing pot of dudes with a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. And we're all making a lot of money, you know, so it was
back at that time, they were paying big bucks.
Yeah, it was, I mean, coming from a dude that's like struggling, like barely making his bills to doing $1,000 a day, you know, with bonuses every 3 months, it was big money for us, you know. So, but you know, the money was great, but it was also the work was it was important. You know, we're protecting the U.S. ambassador, you know, and different diplomats that were coming in, set diplomacy. So you felt this sense of importance every time you rolled out the gate. First of all, people did want to kill your client, you know.
Sure.
So you got to be on your game. Everybody was on their game, you know, and it was just that level of intensity and professionalism and adventure too, because we're going into the unknown. There was nobody doing that shit. That was the early days. We were visiting places Americans hadn't set foot in a long time. So it was a really cool sense of adventure, working with great guys, making good money, and it was cool. You know, it was a great experience. So I got to do that. I was in Afghanistan for about 2.5, 3 years. At the time Blackwater came in, they ended up getting our contract. I was a shift leader at the time, so they hired all the shift leaders to walk on and kind of do the, you know, the train up and stuff for those guys. So went back to Moyac, got trained up in WIPS WPPS2 qualifications that you had to have to go back over there. Did that. And got an offer to go to, at that point, I got an offer to go to Iraq or Bill. It was in northern Iraq. And I knew a lot of guys that were there, and the program manager was asking me to go back. So I left the Kabul detail and went to Erbil to work with the guys who I had worked with for 3 or 4 years. And then ended up down in Kirkuk. We closed that Rio down, the regional embassy office at the time. It was a small compound outside of the Air Force base. So, you know, doing that, and that was, you know, hairy. That was a lot. It was, you know, running the gauntlet every day of IEDs, you know, and that shit gets old, man. So at that point, I was kind of looking to come back to the States. I just had a baby. You know, my wife just had a baby at the time. I was ready to get back, and you know, I'd seen enough stuff, and I'd saved up some money, and I rolled the dice enough. I said, you know what, it's probably time to get back. So I applied with the Department of Energy. That was about a year process. You have to have a Q clearance just to go to the academy. It's one of the highest clearances you can get. So it's a long process. I mean, you got to apply with the Department of Energy, went and did all the testing, got my clearance, got accepted for the academy. So I was like, all right, I'm out of here. I left Iraq, went back to Virginia, where we were living at the time in Alexandria. And we went out to Albuquerque, New Mexico to go look for a house. So we're out there looking around. And that job with DOE is you're basically a courier. You're moving stuff around the United States in black trucks, and you're on the road a lot. So you're gone a lot. Even though you're in the States, you're still on the road a lot. You're basically a glorified killing machine truck driver. DOE has some of the coolest stuff out there, but you're basically driving trucks and moving around gear.
Like a armored truck guy that drives cash around.
Not more low profile. So if you've ever been out west into some of those open desert areas and you see big black trucks and maybe a helicopter above it and 4 or 5 Suburbans behind that, with no markings, it's usually the DOE guys moving stuff.
I see.
And they're set up for they get a hit. They're moving stuff that's highly classified. So those trucks are able to be locked the down, and they have the type of support to secure it in any kind of attack, really. So it's cool. It's an interesting job. And I was getting ready to do it. I had my academy all set. We were house hunting, and then I get a call from a guy that I knew from the agency from years before, who said that the Dell detail was looking for somebody. So, Dell Computer, Michael Dell, his family needed, they were looking for a guy for their detail, which is a small detail. It's like 8 guys. And those details are almost impossible to get on. You have to really know somebody. And then you got to go through the steps to even get in, because you got to interview, so I started off to, I was like, that sounds cool. I put in for it. I did a phone interview. And then they flew me out here to Austin, and I met with one of the Round Rock Dell security guys that runs the corporate security. So I interviewed with him, and then you got to go on to interview with the family.
Make sure they like you.
The family, yeah. Even so I interviewed with, because you're with their kids and family. You could have the baddest. You could be the baddest on the planet, and you got a resume full of every goddamn weapon you've shot and every. It doesn't matter in that line of work. They're looking at personality, how you present yourself. Do I want this person around my children? Do I want this person around me when I'm at a social gathering? So, that's not for everybody, man. And it's one of those things where you kind of have to play that part, So, but it was a great opportunity. The money was probably better than what I was being offered with DOE. And it's in Austin, Texas, man. So, yeah. Albuquerque, I don't know if you've been there, which it's a cool place, but I don't know if I want to live there. It's pretty rough.
Compared to Austin, it's a big, yeah.
Yeah, so we flew out here, and they made me an offer, so I went with the Dell job. So it was kind of like one of those things. I had 2 great opportunities fall into my hands, and I had to choose. And that's just like with business and certain things in life, you have to choose.
Yeah.
And I went with that, and it ended up bringing me, to this detail. I worked for them for about 8 years, which opened up all kinds of cool opportunities. I was taking their kids to Italy and South Africa and, working by myself, and taking them around. You're responsible. You're that one person that's responsible for somebody's most prized possession, So for me, it's kind of an honor, and a guy that spent his whole life really doing security work, that I'm responsible for this package, this precious thing here, 24/7, So I tell a lot of guys that want to get in that line of work, you don't just, get tired, did my hours, I'm going home. Right. You might be working 30 hours sometimes, non-stop, because if your client's on the move, you're on the move. So I ended up going back over to Italy with one of the daughters. She was doing a school program, and I had a lot of experience in Italy. I'd studied there. I worked at the embassy there, and I love Italy. So my language is pretty good at the time. So it made sense to send me. We ended up in Florence, which is a cool place. I got to take my family. We got a cool little apartment, and I was on the go with my client. You know, from morning, she'd go to school, you know, which means I got to be down there to make sure she gets out of her apartment, gets to the school, and then you float around the school pretty much all day long.
Wow.
And then you watch them leave school, and then from there, they might go into the night till 2 or 3 in the morning, partying, doing whatever. So
that's tedious.
You have to conserve yourself, man. You really do, or you will burn out quick. So, you know, it's not being, you know, not being in the red, you know, all the time or anything like that, especially in that environment. It's not a dangerous environment. It's not a high threat environment.
Sure.
But there's a lot of risk there that you have to look at with, especially a teenage girl. You have to look at rapes. You have to look at, you know, the Romanian population. You know, these Romanian guys. I went and did my threat assessment before, of course, and found I'd go look at the bars where the American girls would go to and stuff, and you'd find a lot of Romanians would act as, oh, I'm Marco from Rome. Let me show you my beautiful city. And these young American girls, oh, wow, this is so romantic. But the dudes were Romanian drug dealer, and he rapes them in the parks, you know, shit like that happens a lot. So they don't know that. These kids don't know that. So, you know, I was aware of these things, and, you know, made me have to really be on my game when it came to those environments. And another environment there, she's eating a pizza, you know, I'm going to sit here and not get hyped up. I'm going to relax and act. And plus, you don't want to stick out. You got to be the guy that's just there. It happens to be the same restaurant, and you don't want people to start tying you to your client. Why is that guy always with that girl? Something's off here. So it's really kind of playing a game. There's a lot of acting. There's a lot of adapting, and there's a lot of molding to that environment, adapting to that environment. You know, a lot of guys can't do that, and that's nothing against them. It's just part of that world. You know, how do
you stay motivated at day in and day out, watching a kid walk into a high school, eat pizza, go have coffee with their girlfriends? I mean, I'm sure going from riding in armored trucks across the desert with amazing individuals to sitting in coffee shops and sitting in a car on the street had to be like, oh my God.
Well, yeah, it's that kind of work. Ask any Secret Service guy, and you know him too.
Yeah.
It's 99% boredom, but mind, dude, it's still being ready for that 3% of terror that could come at any second. So that's what motivates me, is just that 3%. Like, yeah, but not getting complacent, because it's so easy to. And as soon as I turn my head, look what happened to Arnold Schwarzenegger the other day.
Yeah, I was that came to mind. Yeah,
you know, it happened so fast, and you know, I know his guy, I know his security detail. They're good, man. So when I was surprised to see that, but things can happen so fast that you get a little bit complacent. Oh, I'm at this great event, everything's cool, everybody's shaking their photos out. The little kid that was thrown off the balcony at the mall, you know, that his mom's walking with them, and the guy runs up and throws the kid off the balcony. You know? So it's having that state of mind to where you're aware of your surroundings and head on a swivel, all that stuff, but not to the point where it's draining and it's ridiculous, but just having that sense of awareness, because that shit, as you know, happens all the time, and that's why we're called paranoid. That's why we sit at the back of the restaurant and have the people facing us. We see where the entries and exits are. Yeah. We live in that mindset, and to us it's normal, but to a lot of these other folks, they're like, what the hell are you doing? I tell my kids before they get out of the car, especially nowadays, everybody's on this, stop, look around, check the parking lot. You don't just get out. There might be a dude standing right there with a hammer ready to hit you. Living in that state and teaching that. But when you live that life, that is your motivation. That is your responsibility. That is your purpose. That is your nature. And if that is not your nature, then you need to go do something else, because now you're a liability to the own person that what you're supposed to be protecting. Yeah.
How'd you stay fit doing all that sitting?
Well, I wouldn't call a lot of sitting now. I tell you what, man, especially over there.
Let me rephrase that. All that watching.
Well, you walk so much, bro. You're on your feet all the time, walking, moving, repositioning yourself. As far as working out, stuff like that, no matter what environment I've been in for the past 25 years, from Yemen to London. It doesn't matter. I will find the time and space to stay proficient in my ability as with my body. So I would find, you know, especially over there, little dungeon gyms, bro, little rooms with a heavy bag. The place I went to had a heavy bag, a squat rack, and a bench press in one like 10 by 10 cement prison looking room. I would get in there about 4 a.m. and I had the best workouts ever, dude, because it's all you need is right there, and you hammer it out, and then you're ready to start your day, and then you roll into your day. So I think that's a big part of that lifestyle is you have to have that. So if you knock it out first thing in the morning, you're golden for the rest of the day, and then it gives you the ability to react to anything that may happen, and then feel good too. If I'm not doing that, I feel foggy. I feel bogged down. I gotta release it, and I feel great. So
I'm a morning workout guy.
I've lost it, man. I did it when I worked. That's the problem. Like now, when I worked and I had schedules and I had to be somewhere, and I had to really structure my time. Where now, it's a blessing and curse, man. I have my own business. I can kind of do what I want. So it's almost harder now. You have to be almost more disciplined now to say, I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to get up and work out. I'm going to do these things I need to do, because now you have the freedom to do what you want. And that could be a dangerous thing too.
For sure.
Say, I'm going to lay around and watch TV and drink beer all day. And then you go down that path and nothing happens. So you got to keep that structure in your life. And I'm trying to get better at that myself. Getting back to having that real structured lifestyle to where I can live that way. You know, it just makes you better.
Yeah. So you got out of the security work, and what made you start a clothing apparel company of all things? All that, that other stuff. And this is like completely, I mean, you could be making soap, you know, like completely different.
It is, but it isn't. Like I look at it this way. You know, when I really started doing this stuff when I was in Afghanistan, we made morale shit. We made hardcore Paladin and Infidel stuff that nobody was doing at the time, man. It was like the shit I was doing.
What year was that, you think, that you started making that?
Well, that was back in 2004. I got my original designs for the guys we were making, and the dudes loved it. And it was just for morale shit. We were like, hey, let's get our money together, check this design out, let's order this stuff. Dudes loved it. I do a couple more. And
were you sketching this stuff out?
Yeah, I sketch all my stuff out, and then I work with a good graphic designer who makes it graphically beautiful, because I don't have that skill. But every one of my designs I'm involved with, and a lot of them come through my travels, you know. And that's why I wanted to put most of my designs, especially early, they all had some significant history to it. You know, I would go into these churches in Rome from the Crusades, when the Crusaders would stop down on the way to Jerusalem, and there's this amazing mosaics in there, man. Winged skeletons with shields and Crusader crosses, badass shit from like the 10th century. I'm like, man, wow, that shit right there needs to be on a shirt. You know, I would have all these ideas for, you know, I got to travel a lot, and I love art. I love history. And I was like, I don't want to wear a shirt that says diplomacy is 1,000 yards, and I'm a badass veteran guy. Like that. I want like cool shit that dudes relate to on another level. And then so I'm at this point and working for Dell, and I wasn't satisfied. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I've been grinding since a young age. So I just didn't ever have the ability to start a business and do something with myself that I wanted to do. And here it is. I'm probably 35 at the time, and my goal is at 40, I won't be working for anybody. I'm not going to be working. I don't care what it is. If I'm selling cookies, or whatever, I'm not working for anybody. I was tired of it, even with my Dell job.
Cookies.
What's that?
I like cookies.
I love cookies too. But what I'm saying is,
you were 35 when you decided that, when you drew that line in the sand for yourself?
Yeah, I was somewhere in there. I knew that I've said forever at 40, I'm out, I'm done. I'm not working for anybody. And I got to the point where I wasn't living who I was. I wasn't who I was. I wasn't living my nature. And that's the problem. People don't live their nature. I was playing this thing that I was. I love security. I love protecting. Like, I love that. I'm a protector. It's my nature. I love that, but I don't love. It's hard for me to play the game of being somebody who I was, and I'd have to be at a certain event, and I'd have to dress a certain way. I'd have to shave my beard. I would have to hide tattoos. I would have to present myself in different ways to adapt to that environment to please my clients or whatever their needs were. So you have to act a lot and be somebody you're not. That's not me. I don't want to be 50 years old in a discotheque in New York City, try to play like Disco Dan while I'm watching my client. Is she okay? Like, I'm not going to do that. I can't. And I saw guys doing that. Guys I know in that world, they have to, you know? And I wasn't going to do that. But the money was good. I was doing 6 figures, easy 6 figures. It's stateside work, staying in the best hotels and traveling to the best places you can think about. But I wasn't happy. I wasn't me. I wasn't satisfied.
The price we pay for trading our life for money.
Yep. And it's easy to fall down. I don't know. When you grow up poor and you want things in life, you want to experience things, you work hard for that. And now you have it. I never thought of having something like that when I was even in the military.
Do you identify as growing up poor? Did you grow up less than?
Yeah, dude. Like, you know, I remember going to school. Like, my dad was hurt when we were kids. He was a welder and pretty much broke his back. Like, he could not move. And it took him, he became so depressed and because he couldn't do what he was meant to do. And he didn't become a good father, in my opinion, but nothing against him. He gave up on life, dude, gave up. So my mom had a hustle and we had 5 kids. And I remember going to school with like Payless shoes on, you know, the cheap ones that the bottoms would wear out like within a week, and then putting like bread sacks over my socks so the snow wouldn't get in there and walking to school.
Sure.
And being cold all day, like, you know, and I was like, and taking cold baths, sharing a bathtub with 5 people, dude, like the same water because we can't keep putting hot water in there. So I was like, it was miserable. And I was like, I don't want my kids to ever go through that, and I don't want to live like that, and I'm not going to. It's what Marcus Aurelius preaches, man. If it's humanly possible for anybody, if Michael Dell, whoever can have what this or that or that guy, then it's attainable. I can attain it too. It's humanly possible. Like, why settle for that or let my kids settle for that? And nothing against my parents or anything. They worked hard and tried, but so it's
a mindset. It's a mindset.
Yeah. So I positioned myself like that. So now here it is. I'm living that. I got 6 figures. You know, my kids are taken care of. My mortgage is good. But now I'm missing out on something else. You know, there's something that's missing. I'm not being who I need to be. And at that point, getting back to the design and stuff, I love that stuff. I love art. I love travel. I love like, I don't give a shit about clothes. Like, I don't care about that. I like putting something meaningful on something, because I look at like art should be displayed on, I don't know, on certain things, you know. So I started doing that with some of the designs through my travels, and I started seeing a lot of dudes really digging it, like people that I wanted to wear it. I didn't want, you know, Hollywood Joe or Bodybuilding Sam or any of these guys wearing. I wanted like dudes that I looked up to, dudes that military dudes, you know. There were dudes overseas wearing my stuff. That's really where it started.
It's still cool to me. I travel all over the country, and I'll be with my wife, and I'll point like in the airport or wherever the diner, and I see your stuff on people. It might be a sticker on a truck or a shirt or a ball cap.
It's cool, man. It really is, and usually it's usually on the person I want to see it on, man. I was in Albuquerque driving back this way from Utah, my last trip. I pulled in to get a coffee, and I look over at this good-looking girl walking through the parking lot, in shape. She had a gun on, shirt tucked in, looked badass, and she was getting into her sheriff's vehicle, but she was in civvies. And I see the shield right there on her chest, and I'm like, that's a person I like wearing my shit. And I tried to hop over the curb and go say hi, but she got scared and drove away. But no, I couldn't get over it. But when I see the type of people that, you know, Tom Hardy's become a huge fan of our brand, and I talk to him almost every day. Like, we've been working on projects together. Those are the kind of people I like, that embrace and get the brand. Like, it's cool to me. I would rather have that than sell millions of them to a bunch of goobers. You know, so we kind of started that way. And at the time, there was not that many people doing that type of thing. There were a couple companies out there. Nowadays, you know, there's a lot of stuff.
You kind of created that genre of during the mid-war time of, I don't even know what to call it, but the like cool guy, tough guy clothing brand. And now it seems like, I mean, I don't even want to name names because I don't want to insult anybody, but
oh, no.
It's a good thing in a lot of ways. Like, okay, like I like what this guy's doing. I want to try to do that, but it's almost insulting to them in some ways. Cause it's like, dude, you can't like copy somebody else's art. I mean, you can, that's what it happens in music. It happens in all kinds
everywhere. In the gun world, it happens. But it's one of those things, like at the time there wasn't anything out there. And I like to have stuff, design stuff, make stuff, have coffee, things that I want, that I like, that what I believe in. This whole brand is the lifestyle that I love. So a lot of other people relate to it, and I'm not going to sell that out to anything. So at the time, you know, started doing that, kicking up more designs. Guys were loving it, man. I was seeing orders in Australia and England and all over the place. And I was like, this is kind of cool, man. People are really digging this. But I'm working at Dell, you know, I'm traveling all the time. And I set up my website, put a few shirts on there, whatever, and started getting orders. I'm like, wow, this is cool. I'd come home from a trip, you know, bag them up and send them out the door. And, you know, 10, and then 10 turned into 20, and 20 turned into 100, 100 turned into 1,000. I was like, holy shit. There was a lot of demand, you know, and I didn't know fulfillment. I didn't know a lot of the back end strategy that's out there with e-commerce. I didn't, I have a business degree. I studied business in Italy, but I never used any of that, dude. I've never used anything finance, accounting, because I hire people to do that. I like the creative side. I like the marketing side. But I also like the strategy too, man. There's a lot of cool strategy in business, a lot of strategy that people don't realize. So I love those things, and I love to grow something. I like to take something that's nothing, just like what we've done in America. To me, it's what America is coming, starting something and growing it into whatever you want, you know?
That's what drives me. That's what
drives you, motivates you. It's cool to see things happen, man. It's really neat to see that. And so it was happening. And then I got to the point where I'm not doing my job as a professional now, because now I'm at events with my client. Oh yeah, they're safe, but let me get on and
selling.
Yeah. I'm like, man, I want to do this. It's cool, and I'm missing out on. I can't go to events. I can't go to shows and be vendor and all this stuff because I'm working all the time. Mm-hmm. But yet I'm thinking about that, so I'm not fully engaged with what I need to be doing as a professional here, living that mindset and being fully dedicated to that, because I was being torn, man. So I had to get to the point where I said, I gotta either shit or get off the pot. I gotta make a decision, walk away from a guaranteed 6-figure awesome job for that kind of work is in the States. And once you leave that, dude, you're done, bro. Like, it's like, you're not going back. Those things are very loyal. They're very,
and they go through all the work to find somebody else to replace you.
And now you've established relationships with like families and shit, dude. So there's a lot of dynamic there that you leave, and it's like, that's it, you know? So, I left. I finally left in 2014. I remember walking out. We took the boss to work that day. I did my last shift there, and I walked out of the parking lot, and I looked around, because this time I'm back up at the corporate headquarters where the boss was. I was now off the children detail, which I love because I operated alone, and now I'm on the detail with all the other guys. It's very typical EP type work, you know, getting the boss to meetings and all this. When I was over kids, I'm like, I'm away from the flagpole. I'm doing my own thing. To me, that's more exciting. Yeah. When it's just you, and I operate better by myself in most, just like business. So now I'm working that, you know, with him, and I'm like, that was it. So I quit. I left that day. I put in my 2 weeks. I left on good terms. That world is also, EP world is very small in the States. Everybody knows everybody, even Walmart detail, the eBay detail, Bill Gates detail. That world is very small. So you around in one of them, word will get back to the other one. So you never know if you got to get back into the game. Yeah. You want to leave with a good reputation in anything in life that you do. So I left on good terms. and with my clients, I'm still in touch with some of them today. Like I grew, saw them grow up. Like I taught them how to drive cars. I traveled the world with them. You also become, you have that obligation too, where you've developed a relationship in some way, professional, but you've seen these things happen in their lives, and it was cool. So finally left, quit. And within that first month, because now I could work on my business full time. I could get my packages out faster. I could learn about how do I put the PayPal button on my website. Like, I didn't know how to do that stuff. And, I was missing out on all these things because I couldn't focus on it. And we talk about focus too, as you know, if you're not focused on something, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen how it needs to.
Yeah.
And within a month, dude, I knew right away. Boom, sales went up, things were happening. I was like,
let's go back for a second. That's something I think people miss so often. I have friends, just it's weekly, a friend or a student or somebody that maybe sees what we put online will ask advice. Hey, I want to do this or I want to do that, but I don't want to quit my day job, or I'm not sure. And I usually start talking about they got to believe in themselves, believe in what they're doing, because if you don't, you're kind of up the creek. But that dissection of your focus, where you were watching the girl and thinking about t-shirt designs and how you're going to dominate the world, you can't do it. Like, you can do it, but you'll be successful at neither.
Yeah, it's that saying I like is like, you can't half-ass things, two things. You got to whole ass one thing, and focus on one thing to make it actually happen.
Yeah.
And I was doing it. I was balancing that. You could do that for a while, man. You could do that, but it'll catch up to you at some point. You may turn your head and I got to check my sales, and boom, your client there's a active shooter just walking to the school or whatever, and you weren't on your game. Mm-hmm. And I can't live like that. I'm responsible. Like, I cannot live like that. But it was pulling at me. So I hear that from guys all the time. Man, I want to do this. I want to do that. It's like Mark Cuban says it too. Like, it's only a hobby, dude, until you say, you know what? I'm going all in. I burned the ships, bro. The ships are burnt. I can't go back now. So that's why I got tattoos on my knuckles. I'll never be able to get in that world again. You know what I mean? Because not in the EP world. I was like, that's it, man.
And the part that you just touched on, though, is sometimes people look at that burn the ships like they walk into their boss's office and dump his coffee over. You made the point of walking away from it respectfully.
And laying your foundation to know that you have something that you believe in. You see that it's working. You see the possibilities. I wouldn't say to dudes like, hey, you got a great thing going on and you got responsibilities to pay, put food on the table and stuff. And you have kind of this idea, this magical thing you want to do, but you haven't really laid any groundwork. I would say that's not smart. Now, you've kind of been building something. I've been building RA since 2011. I didn't leave till 2014. So there was some foundation being laid for a while, brick by brick, every day, bricks. And when it got to the point where I'm like, man, I'm doing pretty good, considering I'm only able to put maybe 10 or 20% of my time into it. Now, if I'm able to put 80 or 90, and the math's there, dude. So, do your homeworks, before you cut the cord on something. I always say, whatever you're passionate about, whatever is calling you in your nature, that's what you should be doing. But that doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't work for everybody, because once you've gone down that road, so say it is a business that you want to do, are you really, like all these companies we've talked to, you see them come and go all the time. They're, oh, that guy's doing it and I could do something similar. You know what? That might work for a little while, but can you deliver? Can you deliver that product to your customer? Can you deal with all the things that happen in business? You're not owned by somebody now, but you're owned by a customer now. You're checking your phone, emails, man. People's expectations want it right now.
Yeah.
And it's gotten competitive. You have to stay on your game. So a lot of dudes realize, man, this is kind of tough.
Right. It's pretty easy to show up and punch a clock and a paycheck and a health insurance benefit coverage is there, and all you got to do is just give it 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week.
Gotta get those TPS reports. Turn those.
Exactly.
Even though you're looking at them upside down,
what the.
You know, and that's cool for some people. I'm not even hammering that, man. You work hard and you put in, that's awesome. But if there's something you want to do and drives you, realize also that there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. It's not like, I got this cool thing and I can make 1 million of them and everybody's going to want one, but can I deliver it? Can I get it to them? A lot of these guys can't, man. And they don't understand fulfillment. They don't understand taxes. They don't understand all the things that you need to run a business. I'm not talking about in your mom's basement with an internet. I'm talking about a business where you have employees, you have infrastructure, you have a lot of moving parts. So there's a big difference between like the hobbyists and stuff like that. But then again, as you know, nowadays with the internet, social media, you could take a turd and make it look like a golden nugget. And there's a lot of that out there. So there's a lot of misperceptions out there, and people they lose their authentic values, you know. So you have to stay true to what it is that you believe in and what you're doing. And if that's a business or a product or like what you're doing, and you do it, you go all out, and you know it's work, bro. You got to set up your equipment. You got to study. You have to be up on your game. You got to know, what's happening out there in the industry. So it's a lot of work. You're not just like getting on the camera and going out to the range and pulling the trigger. You've done a lot of homework. You've done a lot of training yourself.
Yeah.
And that's discipline. That comes back down to discipline, and you got to have that discipline to succeed at whatever it is you're doing. So it's not for everybody. Not everybody has discipline. They might be motivated, but they don't have the discipline to actually make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, dude, you nailed it. I mean, that's I hear that a lot. I want to do this, but I don't know. And, you know,
like it must be nice to be in shape, or must be nice to be able to go on vacation. I was with my friend, his Instagram, his account is Strong Ranger. He's a 75th Ranger, one of the founding members of the Army Combatives program. He's one of my boxing and jiu-jitsu partners. And we were out running around yesterday doing some stuff. And he, 2 years ago, finished. Him and his brother rode enduros, a couple of he rode a Suzuki DR 650, and his brother was on a KLR Kawasaki 650 from Chicago to Tierra del Fuego, the tip of South America. And it was I think all told they did like 25,000 miles, because they were zigzagging all over the U.S. and Central and South America. And great stories. He got stabbed by a guy on a boat with a screwdriver, and they got their bikes impounded in like Paraguay. They thought they were spies, and they're great stories. But
that's adventure, man. That's what Minnesota's doing. I love
adventure. And they're like, he was telling me yesterday, there was a couple spots that they actually rented dirt bikes because it was such dangerous terrain. They didn't want to risk breaking one of their bikes and being stranded. So they rented dirt bikes so they could explore this area up in the high Andes. But people look at that, this is my point, and they say, oh man, that would be so cool to be able to do that. And he's like, dude, I'm an Army vet that does construction work now. I don't have any like huge influx of cash to be able to do that. He goes, I saved as much as I could. And my brother and I said, we're young and we can physically do this journey. I mean, they got parasites. His brother, I think, broke a bone. They crashed bikes, blew bikes up, had to rebuild transmissions in little nowhere towns with scavenged parts and stuff. So it wasn't like just all fun, but people look at that. It was something that got broadcast because it was such a big adventure. But folks say, like, I wish I could do that. And he looks at him like, you can. Go sell your Honda Accord and buy a dirt bike and start riding south. You know, that's pretty much what we did. So my thought to people listening is like, you have to do it, whatever it is. Like, you want to lose some weight, stop stuffing freaking Little Debbie snacks in your face and do some squats.
It's comfortable. That's easy. It's comfortable. It's
the path of least resistance.
Thinking much, and it's nice. It feels good at the time, you know. And a lot of people get tied into that and sucked into that, and it can happen to a lot of folks. So you have to really sometimes get up. You know, if you look at ants, or if you look at like any animal or bug, any of them, they all get up and have a purpose, dude. Like they're all, because they're in tune with their nature. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're damn good at it.
Don't want to get eaten today. I need to eat today. I don't want to
get out of bed today. You know, it's cold. I'm a little guy, a little cold, and this and that, and I'm going to call in sick. when you should have got up and went, you know. But these animals don't do that. We need to take a lesson from our own environment, our own nature, and look at that. Say, man, even that worm has more of a purpose than some people I know in life, dude.
Yeah.
You know, so it's finding what that nature is, and then you get really good at what you're supposed to be doing. That's
You've said that a few times during this discussion. I cut you off. Say that again.
I think it comes down to finding out what it is, what your nature is, what it is that is calling you. And that's what people have a hard time finding. A lot of people search, man, I'm looking for what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. When all along, I think if you really look inside yourself, and that's why I believe in even silly shit like meditating and stuff like that, really get in there, man, and think about what it is that
meditating is silly shit.
It's not, but
okay. Because I meditate.
Hippie type stuff. No, It's cool, dude. But that's where you really learn about.
Oh, I got to get an incense stick. Hold on.
I'll just pull up the peace pipe, bro, instead of that. You know, but I think it's getting in tune with yourself, and sometimes you can only find that within your own self. When you're looking for it everywhere else, dude, it's already there. Mm-hmm. I think it's good to get inspiration and do adventure, and you got to go out and find that, and that inspires you and sparks you. But you have to really also should understand what's inside you too.
Yeah.
To get into tune with what it is you need to do, and it's, you know, it's not money, it's not fame, it's not all those things. It's all relative to what it is inside you that makes you feel valuable to yourself and gives you that purpose. And nowadays it's so easy to get
self-love.
Yeah, dude, it's so easy to get sidetracked, man. And we, especially nowadays, I think even more so than ever because of the internet, because of social media. And there's all these pressures, man. And especially with young kids, I saw something the other day. Suicide rate is among the highest ever in history amongst teenage girls. And it's because of social media, because a lot of these girls that don't understand, they get on there, man, this girl's so beautiful and she's got all this, but she doesn't realize there's fake behind it, the filters and they don't see that. And like, I'm not that, you know, and guys do it too. I see it all the time. You see it. Oh, here's my Lamborghini or whatever. You don't really know what's going on with that dude's life. He can make it look like anything he wants to on the internet.
That's something I think that is important for guys like
that shit.
You and me and other guys that I know like you and me. When I say like us, I mean dudes that have not had a perfect life. I grew up, I used to wear my little sister's, older sisters. Remember the Jordache pants that had the little zipper right here?
Hell yeah.
I used to wear, my parents had 11 kids. And like yours, they did the best they could. And there were times that we had enough, and there were times no hot water, no electricity, no heat, because the bills couldn't get paid. And that's not, like you said, a dig on parents that don't have enough. But because of that, I think it gives us perspective. And too many people just want everybody to think everything's always perfect and everything is always, you know, I've got the Lamborghini. And your friend Ryan, like Ryan talks about filing bankruptcy, breaking up relationships, you know, legitimate mistakes. And I've been there, man. I've lost a home. I ruined my share of ruining a marriage. I've done all that. I've had handcuffs put on me, and I don't have a problem saying it because it's like it's the reality of.
As long as you learn from it, you know, as long as and you obviously have. And Ryan, and guys who've been down the road and have made those mistakes and have failed, but got back up and moved forward, because they've lived that, they've done that, you know, and that's cool. That's what it's about, man. And that's what I love, that stuff. I don't like the stuff that's making some dude or girl feel bad, because I'm not like that. They're trying in a way to try to motivate you, but I can guarantee you that person's life is bro. They're this great image on the internet, but that person right there has probably got some issues you don't know about or want. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's the power of the social media and there's a lot of good to it for sure. You meet a lot of cool new folks. Dude, I've had a lot of great opportunities happen. It's been really cool, man. So you have to kind of balance it, you know, and especially in business and what anybody's doing nowadays, it's part of the deal, man. You gotta use it to your advantage, while it's there, but just do it in a responsible way, man. And then really cool things happen and you meet really cool people, you know. I always laugh about the ones that are like the programs or social media, like, you know, the girls with their ass and tits and all that. That's their whole thing. Like, that's cool. But do you think those people are really there to support you? Because then they drop a business. Oh, no. And like, no, they want to see your ass and tits. You've created that. Where create a following that's supportive and that brings value. So when you do need something or you do drop something, they support you, or because they're true supporters. They're valuable. You know, you're valuable together versus a bunch of people there just to look at your whatever. You know,
it comes back to like the simple idea of what's your motivation. Is it
exactly? And that might be their motivation, and that's cool. Everybody's got their thing, and I'm not hitting on that. For me personally, I like to try to keep it valuable in what my perspective of value is. So
that's a big thing to say, what your perspective of it is, because what's valuable to you, to somebody else, it's the Kardashians or that.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Exactly. And that's, so, you know, and that comes to life itself, is having that open mindset like that. And that's another one I love, is you can only control what you can control, your own will, your own thoughts, what you're going to do. You control that 100%. Everything else in life, you really don't have control. You don't know. Something might change tomorrow. It's out of your control. So why should I put my time, focus, energy into that? I don't know what's going to happen with that. I know what I'm going to do. And that's what I say, put that into yourself, man. It's not being selfish. It's being, it's doing the right thing to what you're supposed to do, because you can only control your own self and what you're going to. That's what I say, mind your own business, mind your own values, and live your own life according to your values and purpose. Don't sit there, oh, these guys, and that. It's out of your control, man. Why waste your time?
You comment online a lot about that. I see you put stuff up about that, about stay in your own kitchen and not so much stay in your lane and don't tell anybody else anything.
Yeah, no.
You kind of reference the mind your business and it'll take care of it.
I say this, focus on your own shit. That's,
yeah.
You know, and when you're focusing on your stuff, not saying like, buddy, no, dude, I go to dudes. I have a network of people that I look up to, and we help each other out, because none of us are perfect. None of us know everything. You got to be humble sometimes and say, you know what, I'm going to listen to this person. I might not even like this person, but let me see what their point of view is and try to understand it more than being like, oh, them. And I don't want to hang around people like that, because I want to learn every day. So having that open mindset, but really just kind of focusing on your own thing, man, because that's where you should be putting your energy, or whatever your goal is. But for me, I like to put my energy into what I'm doing, because then I'm failing if I'm sitting there putting that energy into something else that's out of my control.
It's pretty telling about the person when I've cut all of these people out of my life, not aggressively, but judiciously. I just stop engaging. But when I get messages or contact from folks, or I'm sitting with a group of guys having cocktails, and there's always that dude or dudes that their mode of communication is, hey man, did you hear what John did? And they just want to just tear people up. You know, that guy's never going to succeed. And you just hear it's them. I don't want to talk and think about me, because I'm not happy with my own choices in my own life. So instead, I'll keep the focus out on everybody else. It's like, is that really, I've told guys in front of people, like, is that really what you want to do? Like, you really want to bust John's balls because John's trying? Does that make you feel better? Like, I don't do it often, but there's guys that like just can't stop. And it's like, I'll dish it back at you, man. Suck it.
Yeah, exactly. No, that I don't deal with people like that. And I know what you're talking about. And in general, that type of mindset of person.
It's a large section of society, man.
Well, it's sheep, man. You know, in my opinion, there's very few dudes call themselves lions or whatever. Like, there's very few of them, because they're really just doing their own thing. And they're not out there talking about other people, worried about other people. And I know that's the kind of guy I'm drawn to. Like, when I meet a guy, I'm working with a guy right now on a project, still Team 6 guy. He writes novels, bro. Like, and this dude is probably the biggest still I've ever met in my life. Big dude, good looking guy, badass. He doesn't do anything on social media. He stays out of that world completely. He works on his stuff and he's very passionate about it. I like talking to him. I like, because he's not distracted, man, by all this other shit. He's just in that zone. And I like that. I tell people now, it's almost cooler to meet somebody that doesn't have social media or doesn't. It's almost cooler for me. Like, dude, that person doesn't, because they're not corrupted, man, by all the bullshit. So yeah, dude,
I tell you what, if it wasn't for business, I wouldn't look at Facebook and see what somebody's bullshit boss said to them yesterday. I wouldn't be posting pictures if I didn't have business. I wouldn't do it. Not because
it's part of the deal, man, and it really is part of the deal. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all.
No, it's just a time suck for me.
It's very time consuming, but now that's your job, though, bro. You know what I mean? Like, now it's your job. Now it's your
If it wasn't for my work, I wouldn't be on social media. I just wouldn't. Yeah. It doesn't attract me. I'd be riding my bike or jumping rope or shooting bows and arrows or something.
Yeah, you just got to have that balance nowadays in business. But it's a great tool, so I'm not knocking it. I just think you have to, everybody, even myself, like, man, you know what? I need to step off this and get focused over here. Because it's all where you decide to put your time, you know, and effort. Mm-hmm. And is that on social media or whatever your goal is? But yeah, man, it's all good, dude. So I've been very fortunate. You know, we built Rogue. Rogue has been great for us. I've had a lot of cool things happen with that. Then we started Invader. I launched an Invader coffee product within the Rogue family, just because the way I built my brand is, it's all the stuff that we relate. So if somebody's into our brand and what we're into, the dude probably drinks coffee. The dude probably likes guns. The dude probably's got a knife. The dude's probably got a dog. The dude might have a beard. The dude might have whatever. That's all the shit. He might have tattoos. All that shit is embraced within our brand and our lifestyle. So it's kind of cool in a way, because I can do a lot of cool stuff. I can do it because it totally relates to everything we're doing.
Beer.
So we launched.
You got beer too.
Beer. Yeah. Well, we have a stout. Yes, that's a collaboration with the local brewery. Yeah. And I love working with like local, cool small businesses, man. Like my knife guy, Vasquez, he's just a local dude in his garage, builds badass knives, and it's cool for him because now I'm his biggest client. You know, he's got business, and I'm able to turn around and make something off it too. It's a win-win, dude. And a lot of my leather guy the same way. He's a SWAT cop. He's a former Army guy. He and his wife make our leather products. He's able to sell them to me, and I tell him, dude, sell them to me where you can make some money, and I'm going to turn around and sell them, put a little bit of margin on for myself.
Yeah.
It's that chain effect, man. It goes back down, and not staying greedy and just saying, "Oh, I want it all." I hear guys all them getting over by this guy and that guy. Dude, that. Work with somebody, take care of them, work together, win-win, dude. You build those cool, strong bonds like that, and there's a lot of cool guys out there with badass skills, making really cool stuff, but they don't have a website. They don't know how to run a business. They don't, you know.
They know how to make cool shit.
You make that badass knife for me, dude. I want you to tweak some stuff here and there, and we're going to sell it. I'll just give you business, bro, and I'm able to turn around and make a little off it myself. It's a win-win.
I like to say success begets success.
It does, and it's also success comes from, you know, when you've gotten a chance to take maybe an escalator, elevator up to the next floor, don't leave it there waiting for yourself. Send it back down to get the next guy. Bring his ass up here.
Yeah.
We'll get the other guy, man. Let's rise together. You know, and good things happen at that point. When it's just you, and I'm gonna be the dominator. I'm gonna own this shit. I'm gonna dominate the industry. Like, I hate those. That off, dude. I hate dudes like that. be self-sustaining, man. Like grow at a rate where you can still pay your bills, you can still stay involved with cool stuff, you can still do the things you like to do. To me, that's success. Like these guys are like, I'm gonna crush everybody. They're boring, dude. I don't like people like
I'm
that.
100% with you. That conversation that Aaron and I had yesterday on the road, I've been in business in some form or another going on 21 years. And I remember as a young man reading like success books and sales books and business books. Like I had set goals. I want to make $1 million a week. You know, I'm exaggerating, but that was my goal. Now it's like you said, I can pay all my bills. My wife's calling me right now. We're meeting for dinner. I can go buy a fancy dinner.
You're not sitting in the cubicle for some, you're not sitting in the cubicle for some asshole. Like,
I get up when I want to. I work out in the gym here. I go to jujitsu. I ride the bike. I go take my daughter to see a movie in the middle of the day. And like to me, and then every 2 weeks I jump in my truck and I go hang out with 20 cool people and we shoot guns all weekend and go eat fabulous meals and drink local beer. Like life's pretty good. You know, I can't complain whatsoever. Fly out to Vegas to hang out with like you and Pat and others, and like, that's a pretty darn good life. And there's nobody telling me where to be and what to do. But to your point, there's a price to pay. We're at 11 o'clock at night. Some customers got an issue. You deal with it.
Yeah, no, it is. You're now owned by I don't even call them customers. I like to call our people supporters because I don't look at them as like a monetary type deal. I see that in business all the time about customers, and I look at them as they're supporters, man. We're into this together. They're supporting me, and they love what we're doing, and we're able to do some cool stuff together, and they get it. It's just, that's how I like to call it. But it comes down to gratitude, man, and being grateful for really just being able to get up out of bed every day and have a heartbeat, dude. And you know, once you start with those small things of gratitude, then it makes everything else seem, this is really good, man. I can get out of bed. I feel pretty good, man. I'm going to drink some water. And it's making those small little increment steps like every single day. It could be tiny, man, but if you're doing something that's in a positive manner, it could be eating better. It could be getting up earlier. It could be anything that's little, and you just do that every single day, every single day, every single day. It adds up. And then
it's like Pat says, make it habitual.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and Pat lives, that's why he's 54, 55, and he's in the shape he's in.
Yeah.
And, you know, Pat, dude, I know Pat, he's gone through a lot of shit too, man. And he's come out on top, man, because he didn't give up and he embraced who he was. And he's become something really great. He's definitely lives that lifestyle. So,
yeah.
And you do too. You get up and train, and I like those guys that are out there like living it, man, living that mindset, living that lifestyle. And then when you're around them, then it makes you want to be better and do better. And I don't care who you are. Everybody needs that. Kicking the ass once in a while. Like, oh man, or sometimes I'll see a video even. I'm like, man, that's pretty cool, man. That just, I don't know, just got my hairs up, made me a little motivated. You know, there's stuff out there that is cool like that.
Oh, dude, there's 50 times I've watched you, and I know it's nighttime because it's dark out in your gym. See you out there, like, and I'm sure it's been a long work day, and you're like, let's go sling some iron around, and you'll go back out there and do some 400-pound bench press.
Maybe because I just watched a video from the adaptive guys. It's, you know, Zach, who's crushing 500-pound bench presses with no legs. Like, I just saw that, and then it's just cool, like, because then it keeps you responsible too. Like, man, I gotta get on my game, dude. Or I'll see you doing dry fire drills. I used to dry fire all the time, man. I'm like, man, and it was important to me. It was part of my life, and it still is, needs to be. So it helps keep guys responsible. Like, I need to do some dry firing, man. That just reminded me. So those type of things are cool that I see in the social media realm for sure.
It depends on who you're following too. Like from time to time, like guys will send me stuff, and it's like, don't send me that. Like, I don't care about some person that just like whatever, stupid. I'm not being demeaning, but it's just stupid, idle entertainment. You know, some kid or some gal slips on a dock and her skirt comes up. Like, okay, that's funny, but that's what you're spending your time with. You're spending your time looking at tits and ass, or looking at just, it's entertainment. It's nothing that's, if I'm going to spend my time doing it, like I want to watch something where if it's not an emotional benefit, I'm physically learning something new, or being induced to go do something.
And that comes down to your most valuable asset, that's no amount of money can buy, and people easily forget, is your damn time. Time, dude. Why put it into shit that's bringing you absolutely no value whatsoever? You'll never even get that back. And one day you'll be like, man, I wish I would have gone on a bike and went down to Argentina and adventured around. I wish I would have done these things. Now I'm 70 or 80 and laying in a bed and I'm up, and I'm just thinking about those things. But yeah, man, your time, dude, we forget so often. I do it too, man. I'm like, oh shit, man, I just wasted that time. I should have been doing something that's bettering myself, bettering somebody else, doing something in a positive manner, and not wasting it. So
sometimes that's just laying on the floor with your eyes closed. You know,
it is, and you forget. I don't know how you are, but it's hard for me to stop, bro. That's I have my own, like, I cannot relax.
I've gotten really good at it. I was in the construction business for 20 years, which is you can't stop because things are being built. If things are then it's my business. It's my fault. You can't just, like, keystrokes don't fix it. Hammers and sledgehammers fix it. And it's always a problem. It's raining. It's too hot. It's too cold. There's always an issue. Something didn't show up. Anyway, I've got to the point now where at night, there's no notifications on this phone. No vibration, no ring. I check it, but it doesn't go off every time somebody calls or texts or there's a message on Instagram. I've done that for a couple of years. Every notification's off. And I've got noise canceling headphones like this in our bedroom, and I'll put a book on tape on, or maybe like the sounds of the rainforest at night. I've gotten to the point where I listen
to the sound of rain stuff every night now. It's
man. I covet sleep. Yeah. I need to sleep. And I'll get pissed if somebody my sleep. I get pissed. Like, I'm not 25 anymore either. And you feel like shit. Like, I will get my sleep. You know what I mean?
It is, man. Your sleep, is vital, I think, to how you're going to perform the next day, because it will catch up to you, man. And so you got to find that way that's going to help you relax. It's going to shut everything down so you can be more proficient the next day. Yeah. And it's hard for guys that, my mind don't stop. It's like all the time. I'm like, okay, I got this done. The garage is dirty, man. I need to go clean that.
You just got to tell yourself it's okay. You got to say, like, Wes, you need to stop. Yeah. And then it's easy to get destructive too, where now you suck down at eight or 10 beers to shut it down. And that's like, it feels good after the alcohol washes across your brain, but then that's not healthy either.
Right.
I will be drinking tonight, but I'm saying we're right. At the point where you have to.
Too, but yeah, you. That's why I like with Pat. I've had quite a few drinks with Pat and been out there to Southern Pines, and he's stayed here, and we'll every night end with 3 or 4 beers, maybe 1 shot, and then that's it. Boom. Yeah. That's like, all right. So you got to know when to cut yourself off. Yeah. And say, all right, this is my cutoff point. I'm shutting down here. And then, not just staying, I'm going to have another one. I feel great. And then the next day.
I luckily learned that in my 30s.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Yeah. To learn sometimes, because, I love my red wine. I love wine. I love IPAs. I love a lot of the European beers and stuff, the Pilsners and stuff like that. But, it's just like anything. You just have to kind of tame it, I want to eat 12 pizzas sometimes too, but I'm going to have probably 3 slices. I'm good, so yeah, just cutting yourself off here and there. And that again comes back down to discipline and everything you do in life, because those things are easy. Anybody can sit around and do that. Anybody could do that stuff. It's easy. holding yourself accountable and stopping yourself from your own desires of pleasures. Life is full of pleasures, great pleasures, a lot of pains, a lot of pleasures. And if you're just seeking pleasure all the time and pleasure, I think it's destructive.
Yeah.
You know, you got to stop and say, you know what? Yeah, that sounds good. That looks good. That tastes good. That might be fun. But it's probably not the best decision to make right now. Instead, I'm going to shut it down and go. And that's hard, dude. A lot of guys can't do that. And that's where guys,
maturity.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's human nature to want those desires and pleasures that are laying in front of you. You know, so you have to really get disciplined, I think, in life with a lot of that stuff. And then another thing is, a friend talked to him recently. He's going through a lot of issues with PTSD and can't sleep and suicidal and stuff like that. And now he's great, man. He went and saw somebody, and the doctor told him, and this is what changed it for him. He said, it's okay not to feel great all the time. It's okay. It's normal. You don't have to be like, oh, I got to feel great all the time. No, that's not normal, man. So when you're feeling bad certain times, that's okay, man. It's okay to feel bad. You know, you don't have to feel like you're on a high end, because then they started taking stuff, and then they want that constant, just like a person that does, you know, a lot of drugs.
Drug addict, yeah.
That going. So, you know, I found out guys that with issues, it's okay that you don't feel good right now. You don't, because that the shit you went through, man, it's not good, and you know. It's going to affect you. You just sometimes have to accept it and then find ways to deal with it through working out, through reading, through being around good people, you know, stuff like that. That's doing good things and staying busy, keeping yourself busy and in a positive manner. Like, you have to have a purpose. Every day's got to be a purpose. Otherwise, you start feeling like shit, and then you start getting suicidal, and then things happen. So I see it but my buddy told me that recently. I said, you know, that's a good point, man. It's okay not to always feel great.
That's another one of the common lies today, is that you got to feel good all the time. We've got to.
Well, it's pushed in your face every second. So again, so like, everybody's perfect. Everybody's life's great. Everybody looks great. Everybody's so great. They're not showing the bad stuff that's happening in their life. You know,
I've got people. Go ahead.
Oh, I said we both know people that we know that they think their life looks great, because we know them, even their friends, family, that they're suffering or there's shit going on. So it's not reality, man. It's not real, and maybe that's just a way for them to help make themselves think they're better. So I get that part too, but everybody's fighting something, dude. Everybody's fighting something.
I think just remembering that. From time to time, I talked about this with some students at our last class. There's a recent shooting that happened last year in Florida, and now it's set for trial in August of this year. Remember that guy that started arguing with a woman in Tampa a year or two ago?
The Florida man stories are the best. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, it ends with a guy dead, but he's arguing with a woman because she's parked in a handicap space outside a gas station. Her husband comes out and says, "Hey, man, why are you yelling at my woman?" Pushes the guy, which I don't know if that was necessary either, because he's just saying, "Hey, you don't have handicap plates. Get out of the parking space." Husband comes out, pushes him. The guy that did the pushing was a big, tall, 20-ish black male. The guy that was yelling at them for being in a parking space, 47-year-old, I believe 47, maybe even 50-ish, white male. He falls on the ground, draws his gun, shoots the guy one time, kills him. And initially he was found to be not guilty of any wrongdoing. Well, the local prosecutor's like, wait a second, look deeper, and they're going to try this guy. Anyway, to bring this to what we're talking about, like, he didn't know what was going on with his family. Maybe the kid in the car had a cold and dad pulled in to get some cough syrup from the store they were at. Like, he was just so fixated on, I'm going to tell these people not to park in a handicap spot, that it then created the situation that led to him
escalated,
killing him. And like, if we just remember, like, I had a guy in traffic a couple months ago in Kentucky, business guy, nice pickup truck, tried to run me off the road. And I tried to run a couple other people off the road, and I thought about it like I want to follow that guy at the next exit and beat his head in, but clearly that's not a good course of action. And who knows? Maybe he just caught his old lady cheating. Maybe he just got fired. Maybe the biggest account of his life just canceled the big order, and now he's going to go bust. But like we never remember or think about you, me, anybody else we know they've all got some tragedy. I just got a message from a student yesterday. Hey, I got to cancel class. I just found out I got cancer. Like, that's pretty heavy duty and way worse than anything going on in my life. Yes, I'll send you your money back. You know, like it's we get so myopic about, like you said it earlier, me, like I got to succeed. What fun is that when you're just a dickhead that only cares about yourself?
Yeah, that's what I think that comes with age and experience too. Kind of what you're talking about. I used to be a little bit of a hothead when I was younger, and yeah, sometimes people piss me off, and I think we got sides, man. We can be a nice guy, and then you could, like the two wolves. The other wolf come out, damn head off. So you got to contain that shit sometimes and say, you know what? Let me breathe. Is this worth it? Is this worth it? No. And I'm to the point now, I avoid any type of altercation with anybody because I'm afraid sometimes of what I will do. I would hopefully do the right thing and not escalate it to the point where something real bad would happen. But I just try to avoid that stuff. I tell my kids the same stuff. You just avoid it. But if it does happen and it comes to you, then deal with it in a manner that's responsible. Did you need to go that far to do that to that person? And like I said, there's that guy, especially road rage shit. You see that happen all the time, man. You got a normal dude, Joe Blow, and then he had a horrible day at his office, and he's got all this shit going on. Now he's acting like an asshole out on the streets, and he almost runs you off the road. You're you're like, dude, I want to strangle that guy. Yeah. I want to kill that guy.
Get vengeance.
He just literally, I had that in Italy one time. I had an Italian guy. He drive crazy there, and he was using his car like he was going to ram the car I was in.
Wow.
Female driver at the time. And we got to the next light, and I was so pissed off because now I feel like you're escalating to where you're threatening us with your car, dude. And I jumped out and ran up, and he was rolling up his window, and I was punching the glass, and I was trying to rip him out, and he wouldn't even look at me. And then everybody's honking and stuff like that. Ooh, Yeah, so I was like, no, I gotta, but so you gotta really be self-aware of that stuff. But also on that same note, understand that people that same incident where, okay, yeah, the guy almost ran you off. Now you get out and you run up to his car and you're yelling at him, and then the asshole pulls a gun out and shoots your ass.
Smokes you.
It happens all the time. It wasn't worth it. Just let the go, man. Now you got me cornered, and you're doing something, then you have to do something.
Yeah, it's asking
avoid it
for trouble.
Yeah, it's just not worth it, man. And so many factors can happen, and somebody could die or get hurt. It's just not worth it. And I had a good one. This was about a year ago. I was in my car. I had a pretty nice car at the time. My hair was long. I looked like a homeless dude, bro. I just worked out. I was in my Maj at the time. And that's the car I had to have because at the time I loved that shit. And anyway, this guy was getting ready to pull into a parking spot. And those guys that wait forever, and he's not pulling into it. I'm waiting for 10 seconds, 20 seconds. And I was like, I went around him. So I went around and took that spot because you're sitting there, dude. And I saw the look on his face, dude. He's like, and he pulls up behind me and he's rolling down his window. He's waiting for me to get out. And I'm looking at him like, okay, this guy's going to escalate shit. And I was already hyped. I just got out of the gym, and I do like to fight, bro, to be honest. I like it, and I get out and I was like, I just looked at him and gave him that crazy look, bro, like with cross-eyed and shit.
Don't
and he just
get out.
And he just drove away because he probably thought Uber was going to get out of that car, dude. So I was like, sometimes you can just use your own your presentation, your presence in certain manners to avoid conflicts, so if you can do that first, just doing that crazy look, bro.
It goes back to what people's motivations are and what you want. Like this, I tell this as to students in all of our classes. If you're training because your goal is to live a long, full life, somebody that wants to live a long, full life, doesn't eat like shit, doesn't not exercise, and doesn't go around instigating violence with strangers. Like,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I used to try to like incite violence with people because it satiated my ego to like Z and I, my friend, talk about this. It makes us feel good to dominate somebody and you know, get some guy to punk out and be like, yeah, do it. But there was a couple times where dudes checked me, man, and you saw in their eye like pushing this guy. I think he'll murder me. Like
sometimes you need that.
Just turn the tables on me.
Yeah, I just I was Tim Kennedy comes out here quite a bit. He was actually out here yesterday, and he's a good buddy. I talked to him on, and the dude's a badass fighter. He could do some damage, but he's the nicest guy ever. He's the kind of guy I like. He stays in his lane or minds his own business. He's a professional. He's a businessman. He's a good person. He's a great friend. He's the type of person I say that's what dude should be like. That guy. And yeah, the dude could probably do some damage, but he doesn't talk about. He's the nicest guy ever, man. And I like guys like that, you know. But the dude that's walking around with his chest, barreling his chest out and giving people the eye and acting all whatever, like, no, man,
it's
like,
dumb.
I don't want to be around that guy.
Yeah, such a small world. I talked to you about Aaron, my buddy. Him and Tim worked together at the combative schoolhouse back in the day at Fort Benning when that program started. And Aaron's the same way, all Army combatives guy. And I've been around him before where guys were being like the aggressive type. And he came and helped us at our last S12 event. And a couple guys, they weren't getting aggressive, but they were talking about dealing with aggressive people. And Aaron does this. And he's a big, thick, muscular dude. He goes, hey, I got like the perfect way to deal with that kind of guy. So he's got his hands up, and you think he's going to show these guys some like cool move. And if you can imagine another man standing face to face with me, he goes, hey man, I see you're upset. Come here. And he puts his arms around the guy and gives him a big hug. And like that, and these guys are all like, they're like, wait, we were waiting to see some cool fight move, and he's like, gave him a hug and was like,
that's even cooler though, man. That's
cooler. We're all laughing because we're all like, oh, what's Aaron going to show him? Some kind of arm bar?
Little does know, this guy would have killed you in 2 seconds and he gave you a hug, you know?
Yeah.
It's just cool to see, and that's because he's a true professional, and it's cool to see that. And I think, you know, if you could turn a bad situation into a good one, and you have the power to do that there, then we were at the Aaron Lewis concert a couple months ago. Same thing, man. 2 dudes started fighting out in the crowd, fighting, dude. And Aaron stops and he goes, hey, you two stop that right now. And they stopped. He's like, give each other a hug. And then the rest of that, they were having a good old time.
That's cool, because they would have ended up in jail.
Like yep, ended just like that, man. It was like, you know, that's cool. That's, you know, so.
That's a good story.
Yeah, I was like, that was fucking good, bro. But
everybody there learned a good lesson.
Everybody shut it all down, and everybody's popping, and it was a good vibe, man. It was a good energy going. But, you know, so it's people are people, man. You just don't know what you're going to get sometimes. So you just got to be aware of your environment, it's like the Mattis saying, you know, be nice and polite to everybody you meet, but have a plan to kill them. You know, like I see it all the time on clips and stuff, and I've seen it in the real world where completely unexpected, and wham, somebody gets dropped or stabbed or shot. So, you know, it's good to be peaceful and loving and embracing those things, but also be aware that shit can change quick. Mm-hmm. So you can't live completely on that type of mindset where peace, love, everybody's great, because as you know, humans are the worst animals out there, dude. So it's just being aware of that, you know, and not living to the point where I'm never going to leave my house and I'm going to hide in here with guns and barricade myself in, because that's not a good way to live either.
It's kind of like you were just talking about the pleasures and pains. You have to balance that out. I'm going to enjoy life, but I'm not going to be scared of it, but I'm also not going to create some kind of mass paranoia in my head.
Yeah, because then you're losing. It's just like with terrorism and all that other stuff. Like, no, if I want to go, I remember they put like, oh, travel restrictions to Turkey, travel restrictions. No, man, I'm going to go if I want to go. Because my chances of I walk down D.C., some of the streets in D.C. or Baltimore, Chicago, and actually my chances of getting there is way more than being in Israel or somewhere. I guarantee it, or South America. So you can't live like that. You know, people live like, oh, no, because you can walk over to 7-Eleven and Joe Shit the Ragman comes in there and chokes you out. You know, you just can't live that kind of mindset where you're scared of everything, you know.
For sure.
And when you're scared, then you're owned, dude. You just can't live like that. So, but yeah, man, it's cool, man. It's cool to finally get on here, dude, and chit chat with you, dude, and hope to see you soon. And
I appreciate it. Let's do this. So 2 things. Tell people how they can find you. And then I usually ask folks, first tell people how to find you, and then I'll give you the last question.
Okay.
So how do people find your product if they want to follow you on social media?
Go to midgetpornbeard.com.
Yes.
I'm on all the social media channels, man. It's Facebook, IG, all those things. So just Wes Whitlock or Rogue American or Invader, any of them. You know, we're on all the platforms out there. So
yeah.
Your web.
Rogue American or Wes on Instagram. Is it Wes_Whitlock?
Yeah, Wes_Whitlock. And then WHITLOCK.
Yeah, not WIT. It's WHIT.
Yeah.
We'll put that up on the screen.
Just Google awesome dude in Austin, Texas, man, and I should come up. Just kidding.
I'm like deadpanning it here, like. So you've passed on a lot of your life experiences today to the listeners. If you imagine that the people listening or watching, depending on the platform that they're viewing or watching on, if you only had a moment, which is right now in time, to pass on something that's meaningful or valuable that you've learned in your life, what would it be? Something they'd take away, or if they're like, that's what I would remember Wes by the moment that I got to visit with him. Make sense?
Yeah.
Buy Rogue American beard oil. Is that what you're going to say?
You talking about like a life experience or
anything. I mean, if you've had those experiences where you run into somebody and you'll probably never see them, or most of the people that are watching are never going to get to talk to you again or see you in person. What would you pass on to them? That's something that's relevant and cool that you would find valuable to share.
I would say, and I've said this on other ones too, is like embracing what it is inside of you that drives you, that makes you different, that makes you special, that makes you crazy, whatever it is. Like maybe embrace that and mold that a little bit, because that's what you are. You know, instead of hiding from it and turning away from it. Sometimes the best. That's what makes everybody different and special. We're all the same, but everybody's got that unique thing inside of them that's different. So it's okay to be different and follow that and embrace it. Just tune it to whatever your goal in life, whatever your vision is, because then that becomes your nature. Your nature is what's inside of you. So embrace it and don't run from it.
I'm writing down what you're saying because I just came up with a good idea for a title for this podcast. I think that's cool, man. I think
because I know for me when I was a kid, dude, I was like, I feel different. I'm always feel different. You know, I go in a room like when I was a kid, I thought I was, man. Everywhere I went, besides, you know, for me, it's like being in shitty environments. I felt good, dude. You know, it's weird being in shitty places in Afghanistan or Yemen or Iraq or, you know, all other places in the world that were not good. I felt better, dude. It was just odd. And then I come here and I can go to I was at a ceremony for my daughter's kickball the other day in the gymnasium. And I just feel so awkward, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel so out of place and so awkward. And I start getting hot. And, you know, it's odd. But at the same time, it's like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay to be who you are and to be different. You know, so, you know, embrace that more, like I said, because that's what makes you unique. And I still get that way. It's hard for me sometimes to be in certain environments, you know. And that's okay, dude. You know, I think it's totally fine.
I dig it.
Yeah.
That's that self-love. And I didn't start really embracing that idea until I was in my early 30s, mid 30s. I mean, I had a poor self-esteem.
It takes a while, dude, sometimes. Yeah. So you know what? I'm a human. That person's a human. Like, nobody's better than him. Nobody has opportunities more than another. We all have the same access to to things in life as a basic human, you know. Too often we've separated ourselves. Like, that could never be me. I could never learn an instrument. I'm too stupid to learn another language.
Yeah.
I would never be able to get a college degree. There's something wrong with me. Until you try those things and put your effort in that, you're like, dude, I just learned the language. I was able to graduate out of that university with great grades. I was able to learn a piece of that instrument because you start telling yourself that you can, and you start putting your energy there instead of like all the reasons why I can't. I'm too old. I'm too fat. I'm not smart enough. I'm not fast enough. You're telling yourself those things why you can't, instead of saying, you know what? No, I can, because we put a dude on the moon, man. That person's doing amazing things because he put his effort into it. If I do put my efforts into it, I might be able to learn how to play, you know, something cool on the instrument, or whatever it is you want to do in life, start a business, or not being scared of that and saying, you know, I'm going to do that too. He's human. I'm human. Why the hell can't I do it? You know? So
amen.
I think that's a lot of it, you know, and I think it's good to tell you can instead of you can't. And all day long, it's I can't. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. Because you choose to say
my
that.
dad always said, "Can't's not a word I want my sons to say."
Yep, there's a lot of knowledge in that, dude. There's a lot of truth in that, and it's not just something to be said. It's something that's, you are what you tell yourself you are, and what you believe in, and you know, you can't. That'll be a poison in you. It
will make you. It will definitely define the outcome of your life, for sure. Hey, man, I dig. We've been talking for an hour and 45 minutes. I could keep going.
Too easy, man.
I appreciate it. We'll have to do it again. You've got a couple physical locations people can visit, too. You've got the one in Austin. You've got one outside Fort Bragg, right?
Yep. So our main headquarters is here in Austin, Texas, right by the lake, Lake Travis. And then we're out Fort Bragg, right outside the back gate there on Fort Bragg on Yadkin Road. So you visit our stores from 10 a.m. to 6 usually. And then, of course, we have our gym. We have a gym here on site that's free for all veterans, law enforcement, anybody going into the military. 10 to 6, come sign a waiver and clean up after yourself. But you can come work out here.
That's a cool gym.
I get Tim Kennedy trains out here once a week. I get some cool people that come out here and get PRs, and just because you're in the grit, you're in this rust, that's why I love that. That's why I made that gym too. It's loud, it's rusty, it's dirty. You're back to your natural environment.
It's cool though. You got Atlas stones out there. You got tons of iron.
We got a cone. We got a cone end wheel.
Yeah.
We got a car pull up lift bar. It's just the basic stuff, and then some fun stuff that you just don't find at other gyms.
Yeah. It's
fun, you know, and all that stuff was like that Conan wheel was made by 2 Army Ranger buddies. Everything I had there is like, it's got a cool story behind it, you know. Guys have donated stuff. Sornex sent us a power rack. And then we've used that gym to do a lot of hero wads, to raise a lot of money for different foundations, to help dudes that need to use a gym, don't have a gym membership, they want a place to train. So there's a lot of cool energy out there, you know, and I've always wanted a gym too. I want to have a gym someday, and in a way, like that's the one I want, you know. And
now you got it.
Yeah, I got it. It's not just for me. It's for what it's all about, dude. And you know, you leave it. That's what's cool about the gym. You go to the gym. We're all the same, dude. You know, you're a garbage man, and this guy's a businessman, whatever. But in there, we're all the same, you know. And then you leave a little blood and sweat on the ground, and you leave feeling good, you know. So
I dig it, man.
But yeah, you guys are all. And if you're a good supporter, I got dudes that are, man, I was never in the military, but they're living the mindset and they're about it, then it's open to them too. So I'm all about it. Yep.
I dig it, man. Hey, you guys that are watching, viewing, I hope you appreciated it. You should visit Rogue American. I like the coffee a lot. It's good coffee. I need to order some more. And
I will send you a bag. I know. Yeah, I'm going to send you my bag.
I wasn't telling you to do that. I wasn't telling you to do that.
I'm going to send you a bag of my new blend. So
cool. Yeah, I'm a whole bean guy. So I
got you. I know you like the whole bean.
I like the whole bean. Visit their website. Visit Wes's social media. You'll see some inspirational and just some cool stuff on there. If you haven't subscribed to whatever channel you are viewing or watching this on, please do. We don't get paid for this. It's our time to share stuff that we've learned the hard way, and sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not, but it is what it is. Be nice to somebody today. Tell somebody you love them, and don't be a dickhead. Be well.
Yep. Boom.
Visit our website, carrytrainer.com, for information about classes held throughout the U.S., Carry Trainer apparel, and upcoming projects. You can also email us at training@carrytrainer.com for information about setting up your own private course or speaking engagement. Training@carrytrainer.com or carrytrainer.com.